So I'm joined today by Jennifer Fujalkowski from AIM Corporation. Nice to see you again, Jennifer.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Now, you were on earlier, actually, one of our panel discussions on low temperature solders. I want to talk a little bit longer about the LTS process and in particular about the rework process. I mean, it seems to be ignored largely, this business of having BGAs that are using SAC 305 balls when you're working with a low temperature solder for the rest of the board. So how do you make that work? You know.
Okay. So I completely agree that rework is overlooked in the implementation of low temperature solders. Everyone looks at alloy commingling in the reflow setting. They look at mechanical reliability. But what happens when this low temperature solder inevitably needs unplanned rework when defects occur? So in that case, most people, use flux cored wire for their rework, and the material that they're often using is SAC 305 because that's just what's most likely on their rework bench. Yep. And people think that's what we have available to us, and they don't really think about the consequences of introducing this new material. So it's similar to how when BGAs that are pre-bumped with SAC 305 are used with low temperature solder paste. It's a similar but different phenomenon when you're using a SAC 305 flux cored wire and reworking a low temperature solder joint. Right. Actually tomorrow morning I'll be presenting some work that's called Addressing Low Temperature Rework Considerations. And that's because, like we said, this is something that isn't being looked at as often. Right. But there is evidence to believe that using entirely a low temperature alloy in your assembly, namely in the reflow process, will enhance your reliability. So we're looking at how using all low temperature solders can affect your reliability in the rework setting. Right,
okay. So let's look at what are some of the consequences of trying to rework using SAC 305. What can go wrong with it? I mean, what are the typical problems you run into?
Well, instead of focusing on the consequences of SAC 305, I can talk a bit more about the advantages of using a low temperature alloy in the rework setting. So first of all, because it melts at a lower temperature, you can potentially reduce the temperature of your soldering iron tip. So if part of the reason that you're using the low temperature solder is to reduce the thermal stress that you're putting on your assembly, by reducing the iron tip, you're reducing the amount of heat that's being introduced to all the components around where you're reworking. So that's one reason to use the low temp in the first place. Right. And also by using a SAC 305 flux cored wire, you're just introducing a new material to your assembly. And that can just increase variability. And from the work that's being done with the SAC 305 balls on BGAs used with low temperature paste, there has been evidence to believe that it reduces your reliability. So,
well, you're not going to get full ball collapse, are you, on these SAC 305 balls? Because you're only, you're reflowing the board that's anything between 180 and 220, so you're not getting full ball collapse.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
is an issue. Okay. So it also makes, I assume, if you're using low temperature solder balls as well as low temperature solder for the process, then you're getting a homogeneous joint throughout, basically. So that's gonna help matters.
Yeah, exactly. And in the rework setting, when you're just using a full, like using one alloy, you're gonna introduce less variability.
Okay. So do you think there needs to be some sort of standard that comes out, to help guide people towards using at least the same alloy?
Yeah. Well, I think that just more research needs to be done before we start forcing people to do one thing or another. Right. And I think that the study that we're starting and presenting tomorrow kind of touches the tip of the iceberg on the whole whether or not you should implement all low temperature in every single step of your process. Right. And in the study, we go through what fluxes you can use to help using low temperature alloys in the rework setting, because bismuth is infamously a slow wetting alloy, or when it's used in an alloy. Yeah. So there's different fluxes you can use to improve, let's say, like barrel fill And so what our study is trying to do is just to guide our users for best practices, as opposed to telling them that they need to do this or that, but to give them some support so when they're implementing these low temperature pastes, they then know how to process their assembly further down the line in the event of an unplanned defect.
Right. Now, I think you mentioned back in the panel discussion that when you're looking at using tin bismuth alloys, one way of being able to improve the ductility is using silver in the process. Some other companies are using dopants and things like that. How effective are these?
So silver is an extremely effective element to use to improve characteristics such as wetting or to reduce the brittleness or increase ductility. Just 1% is a good option because then it keeps it at that just about eutectic melting temperature of 138. So it's still low, like a low melting alloy. And it just being 1% silver also makes it so that it's not extremely expensive, but still enhances those mechanical characteristics that people are so concerned about when you introduce a high bismuth alloy to your assembly.
Yeah. Okay, good. So any other tips you can give us about the presentation you're going to make tomorrow?
So tomorrow we're looking at 3 different rework conditions, and one of the conditions we excluded from the study was low temperature flux cord wire, and the reason that is as we're saying, brittle bismuth is this brittle element, and that not only affects the assembly of your electronic device, but it also affects the manufacturability of flux cord wires, because flux cord wire is essentially a long metal tube with flux injected into the middle, and flux cord wire, the extrusion process is continuous, and so it's kind of like when you pull silly putty, and then you string it across your fingers. That's what the extrusion process is similar to. But since it's ductile, you have to move the extrusion process very slowly. So if the reason you're switching to a low temperature solder paste is to minimize costs, implementing a low temperature flux cord wire might not be the best idea for you because it's a bit cost prohibitive, because the process of creating this material takes so long.
It's slow and more expensive.
Yeah, so...
But using silver is going to be expensive too.
Well, you would have to introduce a lot of silver in order for the extrusion process to be faster and equal to that of SAC 305. So tomorrow we're actually looking at solid low temp wire and external fluxes such as gel flux for SMT components and liquid flux for through-hole components. And we're also looking at the traditional SAC 305 flux cord wire. So, if you'd like to learn more about how low temperature paste can be reworked, I'll be presenting tomorrow morning.
Great. Well, make sure and see if you're here at the show or you're in the area, make sure and join us or join Jennifer tomorrow for that presentation. What time are you presenting?
It's the 8 to 10 a.m. Time slot, LTS 3, and I'm the third one, so maybe around 9 o'clock.
There you go. Okay, great. Well, Jennifer, nice to catch up with you today, and thank you for sharing all your wealth of knowledge on LTS.
Thanks, Trevor.
Okay.
Nordson Electronic Solutions. Everything you need for precision automated fluid dispensing, conformal coating, plasma surface treatment, and selective soldering. Our passion is helping customers take their processes further, faster, with best-in-class technologies, dedicated global sales and support teams, and unmatched applications expertise. From the names you respect, SMTAI Fluid Dispensing and Conformal Coating, March Plasma Treatment, and Select for selective soldering, we offer years of experience in advanced technology solutions for electronics manufacturing. Take your electronics assembly process further, faster.
So I'm joined today by Dr. Wusheng from Yincae Advanced Materials. Nice to see you again, Dr. Wusheng.
So nice to see you.
Yeah. So I believe you've been recently been developing high reliability conductive epoxy material, which reflows at 270 degrees. Can you tell us a little bit about it, how you developed it, and the applications?
Yeah, okay. Thank you first, Trevor. We developed some this epoxy for the die attach, I guess, semiconductivity. thermoconductivity and electroconductivity. They can tolerate minus 273 degrees C without any delamination.
Okay,
Yeah,
really?
without any delamination.
Okay.
So another technology we developed, so we can change the flux residue to salt mask. So eliminate the industrial headache, cleaning process, and the pollution, huge cost.
So actually the flux chemistry essentially sets to become a solder mask over the board.
Yes.
Yeah. But there's no issue with trapping any debris or contaminants below that. No.
No any issue. Even use no killing solder paste, reflow.
Right.
So as you know, 50% is the solder, is right? 50% is the flux residue and the stuff.
Yeah.
So a lot of residue over there. We still don't have any issue.
Yeah. Okay. So what components in the flux chemistry make it special so that you can set it as a solder mask?
Yes. So as you know, the flux residue, the main ingredient is rosin. It's rosin. Rosin it itself.
Yeah.
This benzolene, this stuff is hydrophobic. The only the flux function, as long as the flux function, react with our the underfill, molding underfill encapsulate, and they became much better solder mask.
Right. Okay. And so that's really interesting. So that takes away the need for cleaning.
Yes.
And that type of thing. Okay. So looking at this high reliability conductive adhesive you've produced, what sort of applications is that being produced for?
Yes. So right now, mainly for the space. The people like the mask, they said, go to Mars. Mars, the temperature minus 140 degrees C.
Right.
So normally, this materials doesn't work over there.
Right.
So we develop materials can tolerate minus 270 degrees C.
Wow. Wow. That's a huge range.
Yeah.
That's a huge range. So minus 270. Wow. Okay. And is it also used in automotive applications or any other applications for high reliability?
Yes. Right now, mainly space company. Mainly space. Of course.
Well, there's not very many people going into space.
Yes.
so I would think that's a fairly limited market. So there must be other high reliability markets that you're using this material for.
Yes. Some is like aerospace, the engine stuff,
Yeah.
They need to go to space. This very, very low temperature.
Okay. So is this a material that was customer driven? Did they come to you and say they had this issue? Can you develop something? Or was this something that your team felt there was a market for?
Yeah, actually some the weapon company. So they need to try to looking for this kind of the materials.
Right. Okay. So some military application, but obviously it trickles down into other applications that are non-military. Like aerospace and okay, I get it. Good. So these materials they're now available. You've released them now onto the market. You have done your beta testing and everything with them.
No, on sale.
On sale.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent.
On sale.
Good, okay.
So
what are they called? Do they have a name?
Yes, DA158N.
Okay. DA158A. Okay.
N like Nancy, yeah.
Okay. All right. What other things are you working on then, Dr. Wusheng?
So other things this is a really low temperature one.
Okay.
So we also developed something, changing the flux residue to solder mask. We aim at the high temperature. They can tolerate over 400 degrees C.
So developing something for the low temperature market that can withstand high temperature.
Yeah, another marketing is high temperature. One is low temperature, another is high temperature.
I see. So on the low temperature side, though, you've got a lot of competition coming in from the tin bismuth and materials like that.
Tin bismuth is a lot of the competition, but the tin bismuth is not that low. not go to minus 270 degrees C.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
No, of course not. Wouldn't do that. But yeah. So it sounds like you've got a wide range of materials you're working on. Exciting times. So I'm sure if people want to know more, they can go to your website and find out more information. But I want to thank you for coming in and telling us about it today.
Thank you.
Expand your inspection capabilities. The Mertec MV6 comes fitted with a best-in-class high-performance 18-megapixel camera. This provides inspection in 5 directions using top-down and 4 angled cameras simultaneously, finding defects that a single camera can't detect, such as OCR and QFN solder bridges.
So I'm joined now by Stephanie Barone from Calcuquote, which is a company we've interviewed quite a few times in the last year. But you keep coming out with new things.
We do.
So, of course, you've got the old standards, the
quoting and the
quoting
purchasing.
and the purchasing and that type of thing. And then the most recent one, of course, is where you opened up the market one, CQ stock, where people can use their excess inventory and they can basically post what they've got as excess inventory or go on there and look for materials that they're looking for themselves.
One man's trash is another man's treasure.
Absolutely. So how has that been working?
I bet I get a text or an email or something a week from one of my customers who says, "You guys saved my bacon," which I love. It's working great. As things start to get less bananas crazy in the supply chain, it's not as necessary. But I mean, sometimes if you're stuck between I'm not going to find this part or there's a broker who's going to charge me $500 for this part, I can go look. So again, it's not something we're charging for. It's literally just, like I said, hippy dippy, right? We're just trying to make the industry a better place to live.
That's the beauty of it.
It's
a free
working
service.
really well. Yeah.
Now, you've also brought out a couple of other new CQ modules or services. So tell me a little bit about them.
Well, there's Part CQ, which is very new, and it's basically it's searching for alternates using massive amounts of data, machine learning, really cool stuff happening on the back end, but basically saying, hey, if these 7 customers have these parts in common, maybe 60% of them in common, and they've all had these other parts that are part of their build, maybe the other 40% are good too, right? Like starting to use some data points, and I'm way dumbing it down, but it's really impressive. It's an impressive and I think it's going to be a real game changer in the marketplace.
So it's taking the preferred vendors off of the list that they've got.
It's the MPNs, the actual parts. So like an 0402 is an 0402 the world around, right? So saying, hey, this customer has these 7 0402s approved, and this customer has these 4 0402s approved. Well, maybe the other 3 will work. Maybe they won't. But that's a very dumbed down example of ways that you might find additional alternates. Who else has been using alternates for this part? How has this been subbed in the past? Just helping customers cast a wider net so they're more likely to have fewer bottlenecks in their supply chain.
And do you rank that by a percentage, like 80% of our customers think that this might work too?
We haven't even gotten that far, but I think 100% of our customers are like, hey, if I can find a better way to find alternates that I know that's going to be accurate, that's going to be more likely to be really a good substitution, heck yeah, we want to see that.
Right, okay. Good. So that's the stock. That's the part. CQ's part. Okay. What else have you got?
I just spent a lot of time last night talking about something called board CQ, which is still in the talking about it on a cocktail napkin phase, but basically applying a lot of the principles of the components to shopping for boards.
Right.
So that's something that we're talking about. We're talking about Dash CQ, which is pulling data. A lot of our customers are using our systems and they're using our tools, and we've got suppliers that they're part of this network. There's a lake of data out there that if they could bring that data back and do more than just look at it and go, nice spreadsheet. If you would actually take that data and do something actionable with it, like when are we winning? Why are we winning? Why are we losing? When are we losing? How do we change that? You can use that data to find that and be better. So that's something that we're really starting to put together for the supplier side of, now we've got these acres and lakes and whatever's of data, do something with it. So that's something we're coming up with.
So what do you? So you're doing that for the supplier side. So
and customer side, yeah. There's just data, lots of data.
Right. And so you're looking at why people bought certain components from for vendor A, not from vendor B, etc.
Right.
And say, well, they were cheaper or they were faster on delivery or whatever the reason was.
And that's a lot of times suppliers will say, but, I might not be the cheapest, but we deliver better service, and you can't necessarily see that in Calcuquote. And we're like, well, no, you can actually. Yeah. There is fuzzy logic out there, and there is machine learning that helps you define that and say, hey, maybe they're not the cheapest, but they get it faster, or they've got more flexible payment terms, or they've got more flexible packaging. Who knows?
Right.
So yeah, it's just, there's that data there, and it helps. That's an example of, why did we win or why did we lose? But there's also, what's a health score of us as a company? Like, what are we doing well? Where are we not doing well? That kind of thing. So yeah, just using data to make actionable changes within an organization. So we're helping people do that.
It's incredible.
Get better.
Yeah, it's a never evolving story, with Calcuquote. I mean, you guys, you've been around since when? I mean,
2014, we were, an idea. I think we got our first beta customer in 2015, so 7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been amazing. I mean, I've been here for 3 years. I didn't even come from the electronics industry, and literally fell in love with this scrappy little startup, and now we're really the one that everybody thinks of when you talk about quoting software in our industry. Yeah, we're the ones.
Certainly saved a lot of people a lot of problems, especially through COVID. But it's a great idea.
Thank you.
And I've always been a fan, believe me. Anyway, Stephanie, it's been great to catch up on all the new things at CQ, and we look forward to watching your progress and your continuous growth.
Thank you. Me too. It's exciting. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So I'm joined today by John Dennison, who is one of the most successful manufacturers reps in the United States. So thank you for coming in and joining us today, Don.
Thank you, Trevor.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Let's start out by mapping your territory. I mean, what territory do you cover?
So I started out 30 years ago covering New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. Okay. And it's been growing, and we're starting to cover most of the East Coast and Maryland and Delaware and the Carolinas and upstate New York. And
wow, so you're building up your travel miles in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's been great.
So, I want to congratulate you, of course, because you've won the Manufacturers Rep of the Year award, which I think has been greatly justified. But tell us, what are the key secrets that you've got that think have made you so successful in your profession?
From day one, I sell products to the industry that I know everything about them. I can program them. I can operate them. My clients appreciate the fact that I can basically run the equipment. They don't have to call anybody for service.
Right.
I'm their first call all the time.
Well, that's important because there's a lot of manufacturers reps out there, but they don't do service. It's just really an introduction service,
correct,
if you like.
Yep.
So, have you got a lot of process knowledge from before?
Absolutely. I started out early in the industry, working for Heller Industries, and had a lot of mechanical background. Did service work and sales for them, and Marty Heller was kind enough to get me started in the rep business, and it was a great start, and I got to represent some great companies I've done over the years and held on to them for a long time.
Right.
So I've got a lot of resources, and a lot of people know me in the industry, a lot of customers.
Right. So tell me a little bit about your line card, because you've got one of the biggest line cards I've heard of.
Well, thanks to my marketing director, Megan. She's really helped me grow the line card. And I can pretty much recommend or bring products to my customers that will resolve any. I can resolve any issues they have on the floor for the circuit board assembly. And thanks to that, I've got some of the best products in the industry right now.
So what are your key sellers?
So I sell surface mount equipment, surface mount assembly equipment. I
Right.
represent Hanwha.
Hanwha is it?
Hanwha, yep. And I do their screen printers. I do AOI. I do reflow ovens, cleaning equipment. I represent Austin America for cleaning equipment. They've been a great line for me. And from nuts to bolts,
Right.
from the front end to the back end, I do everything.
And so are you getting many full line requests, or
And-
is it
and
all
that's-
onesies and twosies?
In the beginning, there was a lot of onesies and twosies, but I can represent the entire line now.
Okay.
And I can give them solutions for the entire line. Not necessarily everything all the time, but I can recommend the right equipment for the right job. And I know all the equipment, so it helps.
So I mean, the industry's automating quite a bit. They're automating the processes at least. They want to get SPI checking back on the printing, that type of thing. So how involved are you getting into helping companies improve their processes?
So I've worked with a lot of these companies from day one, and a lot of them started out as doing batch work. And now I've been able to go in and upgrade their equipment and automate them, so they've been able to utilize their personnel better, utilize their floor space better by automating. And the reaction I get from them once they're automated is, wow, I should have done this a long time ago. And now it gives me pleasure because I've gotten them to the next level.
Right.
Okay, and it's great because I enjoy working with them now. It's fun.
Are you doing much with robotics and things like that?
Yeah, I've got a lot of applications now with some of my principals that are doing offline AOI robotic, and it's really speeding up the processes.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Well, as I say, I want to congratulate you once again on your win of the Manufacturers Technology Award, and well deserved, Don.
No, it's been a great trip. I love it. I'm grateful for the acknowledgement of it now too. So, it's been fun.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you for coming in and telling us all about it today.
Yep. Thank you.
So I'm joined today by Stephen Eggart from Surftech Manufacturing Corporation. Nice to see you, Stephen.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So you are a sort of tier 3, would I be right in saying, manufacturing company, contract manufacturing company based up in New York area.
Correct.
So tell us a little bit about the company, size, number of employees, etc.
So it was a family-owned company that my parents started back in 1989. They recently retired earlier this year. I've been working there pretty much, as long as I can remember.
Right.
Stuffing boards on the kitchen table type of thing many years ago. And we've got about 25 employees at this point. We've grown. We've moved a couple of times too, as our size continues to grow. And we've been just trying to stay on top of the latest equipment and trying to get the right equipment in and try and automate as much as possible.
Right.
And that's kind of what we've been doing.
That's what we've been doing. Okay, so what sort of markets do you serve? What sort of customer base?
So we're in a variety of different industries. We have some military customers. We have some surveillance customers. I do a lot of equipment with like Border Patrol and things of that nature. We do some LED strips for aircrafts. Okay. And a lot of sensors, industrial type of equipment, leak detection systems. So we're kind of in a little bit of a lot of different industries.
A lot of different industries.
Yeah. Every customer is very, very different. Their end products are very different, and walking around the manufacturing floor, you can clearly see the differences between them.
Okay.
So it's a variety of industries, really.
And accreditations?
So we're ISO certified and we're ITAR registered.
Okay. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So you got quite a mix there. What sort of changes have you been doing to the production lines to try and improve your efficiency there?
So this year we added another SMT line. We upgraded our primary line that we now dedicate towards like high speed, and our second line is more of like a lower volume prototype line, which we did not have before. So we're a little bit able to try to get some of those smaller projects, which is tough to put on a high-speed line. We can now do them in a little bit more of an efficient manner, and certainly a little quicker.
Right. Okay. So what sort of challenges did you really face there? I mean, what sort of equipment did you add to help?
So we added another selective also earlier this year. We added like a real storage system to keep track of all the inventory. Those are a couple of things that we've added. As far as challenges go, the biggest challenge, of course, is getting parts. Right, that's a challenge I think you hear every day. But we're kind of muddying through that a little bit. We've had some customers redesign dual footprints, things of that nature, to try to get past some of that. And hiring staff is always a challenge too.
Right. Definitely. Well, there's two things you've hit on quite. That have been a big problem through COVID.
Yes.
But so, how badly were you affected by the supply chain sourcing problem? I mean, was it a real issue for you? Did you have multiple sources of?
We do have multiple sources in a lot of cases. Some customers definitely had to go back and redesign their products. It's become a little bit more predictable these days. The lead times, when you see something at 52 weeks, you have a little bit more confidence than you did like a year or two ago. Right. It's still very challenging.
Do you do your sourcing through the big box guys, or do you do it through some of these new systems that have come online? The automatic systems.
No, we're doing it through the big suppliers.
Big suppliers.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. The job market. I mean, how difficult have you been finding it? With the employment market in recent years.
It's certainly the most challenging I've seen in the 15, 18 years I've been doing this. It's not that you can't even get candidates there really aren't a lot of candidates applying, let alone good ones or bad ones or anything like that. So it's been very challenging. The people that are looking, that are seriously looking, they can find jobs pretty easily.
Right. Right. Okay. And just operators that you're looking for, machine operators.
Machine operators are difficult. Quality inspectors are always difficult, and really qualified soldering staff is very difficult. It's all been difficult.
Right.
It really all has been. We've looked for all positions now over the last year, and I couldn't tell you one's harder than another. They're all tough.
Right. Any local universities or colleges that you work with?
Not currently. Not currently.
Okay. All right. Well, it sounds like you're certainly growing as a company in terms of your capabilities and that sort of thing. So that's great to hear. So I want to thank you for coming in and telling us a little bit about SurfTech today.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you.
The Arch FX manufacturing platform. Processing over 1 trillion data points each month. Bringing value to every level of your organization. That's manufacturing insights for tomorrow.
Okay, so I'm joined by Pete Sowinski. He's the president of Medco West Electronics. So nice for you to come in and join us today, Pete.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, tell us or tell our viewers a little bit about Medco West. Where are you located? What sort of size of company?
Well, we're located in Hackensack, New Jersey, and we have approximately 10,000 square feet, about 25 to 30 employees.
Right.
And we have an extended facility that we could use in Long Island that gives us bigger capabilities if needed.
Okay. And what sort of accreditations do you have up there?
We're ISO 9001-2015, and we are all our solderers and QC people are IPC trained.
Trained.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Okay. So typically your customer base is small to medium batch customers, and they tend to be with you for the long term.
Yes,
as I understand it.
We're looking for partnerships with customers to be like their manufacturing arm, so we set up those relationships and partnerships so we can help them grow, because that's what we want to do as a company also.
Right.
Give us more capabilities and give them better quality.
So you're really looking for startups and to sort of grow with them, that type of thing?
Yes, to take them through the full prototype and try to get to a place where we can be their manufacturing resource through all their products that they build in the future.
Okay.
And go ahead.
Yeah. So they basically you don't do the design in-house. So you take the design in, you do the board build, and in some cases, if necessary, you can go forward to box build if necessary.
Yes, we can go to box build. We don't do it currently, but we have the capabilities of doing it. We do take in design from customers, and we do offer them PC board layout if they need it, and we do offer them redesign, especially in today's times with all the component issues.
Right.
We'll take boards and work with them to maybe possibly change out parts to different packages, and we'll redesign that so they have multiple sources so they can keep their business going.
Right, excellent. So you mentioned you've got a couple of different facilities up there. What are the characteristics of the two facilities, and how do they work together?
We basically kind of work separate on our own customer bases, but we're kind of set up so that we can have redundancy. If they have an overflow of production, we can handle it because the machinery is kind of redundant. We have the same machines that they have, so it's just a drop in.
Right.
And we could do the same thing, especially if we have a customer that we're growing with, and they are going to a higher volume thing, possibly that we can't handle in house. We can send it over to Long Island, and they can help us, fulfill the quantities.
That quantity.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Okay, and we just come out of obviously COVID with all these issues with supply chain.
Yes.
How big a problem was that for you?
The problems have been huge. It's an everyday battle. We have a good team in there that is consistently looking at parts every single day to try to get them in-house and to keep our customers from. We actually, when this all started up, we talked to our customers and we basically told them that we're going to go out and look at your assemblies, which we did, so that they could put in blanket orders in the future showing that they'll have deliveries capability for the next year.
Right.
And we did that for them, and everything's in place. So we kind of work, it's a big partnership.
Good.
Yeah. And currently
that's a lot of inventory then that's sitting on.
Is
that sitting on their balance sheet?
It depends on the situation.
Right.
We've changed things up a little bit where we do some material buys that they pay for if we have to wait for a part that's long term.
Right.
Or we've been sitting on a lot of material also so that we can give them what they need. And it's both ways.
Okay.
It's not a one-way thing.
Okay.
What we do now for them, though, even so, is we set up a daily thing where we send out quotes on orders that they might potentially make in the next few months. And we actually hooked up with a company called Calcuquote, where we can easily send out their bills of materials quickly and get it back and let them know if there's going to be an issue for their next order. So that if they need to get it in earlier, or if the part's not going to be available, they can look at redesign, or we can bring the kit in early before they actually even need it.
Yeah, that's a really valuable system.
Yeah, so we're trying to be the value supplier for all our customers.
Yeah.
And we're looking to grow and try to bring more customers like that in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've been the lucky recipient of one of the Global Technology Awards later today.
Yes,
so
I heard that. And
congratulate
I appreciate
you on that.
Thank you so much.
It's based on the service that you're currently providing.
Yes. Well, we're trying to be that, and all the employees there are dedicated to service and quality for our customers. And that's big, and that's what has been our driving force for all these years. That's why we're successful.
Yeah. Well, having a good, stable workforce that's with you all the time,
Yeah.
and the same extends to your customer base, because
Yes.
most of your customers have been with you
Yeah.
for
So
10 to 20
it's a
years.
good, well balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. So once again, Peter, congratulations, and thank you for coming in and telling us a little bit about Medco West today.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Nordson Electronic Solutions. Everything you need for precision automated fluid dispensing, conformal coating, plasma surface treatment, and selective soldering. Our passion is helping customers take their processes further, faster, with best-in-class technologies, dedicated global sales and support teams, and unmatched applications expertise. From the names you respect SMTAI fluid dispensing and conformal coating, March plasma treatment, and Select for selective soldering, we offer years of experience in advanced technology solutions for electronics manufacturing. Take your electronics assembly process further, faster.